The story unfolds with a media who is making chaos because they think that this yellow hair guy is a very strong hunter, because he recently completed the A-rank gate by himself. And there's also a story that he has subdued an S-rank hunter during the recent dungeon break. Media asks him if he is manipulating his awakening level all this time. But the man is completely calm and says no word. He thinks to himself that the fact he made money off this hunter job was just a coincidence. Not because he has the abilities these people here think he does. It was luck and a bit of bluffing that got him to where he is now. In short, our boy is just a piece of crap, and he doesn't even understand what the reporters are asking him right now. They ask him if he has any plans. Man finally started talking, asking the media if he had a plan. Would things have ended up like this? He wonders what will happen if it's revealed that he's at a level similar to an F rank. First of all, the S rankers who've been labeled as being subdued by him will probably blow his head off. A top ranker became his enemy after he neutered a gate together. Will he really let our guy be? There is a chance that he ends up getting cursed. He doesn't know what to do now. Then he decides to reveal something to everyone. And what he said is he has no comments for all the allegations. But the media still wants an answer. They want to know if he is really manipulating the awakening rank. Protagonist realizes that saying anything will not change the fact that tomorrow's article is already ruined. But for him, letting people continue to misunderstand like this is no different from being dragged down by this hunter's job. Protagonist's name is Kim. With a cold expression he replied, "I said no comment, you mammal brats." Everyone is stunned after hearing what he said. Now the media wants him to clarify what he said. Bro, they are not leaving him alone. He realizes that even if he reveals that he a powerful being that's hiding his strength, or even if it turns out that he's a useless citizen, he won't be living on this rotten planet for long either way. Now he starts remembering from where everything started going wrong. It starts with his resignation. There's one thing that he needs to clarify first. In fact, he was not a resident of this planet. His older panel name was Alpha Uri. It is a planet with a highly developed magical civilization. His role as the strongest wizard was very significant. However, one day he suddenly had this thought. The desire to quit his job came into his mind. Because this job is treated as social service, so even if he works himself to death, it's unpaid. And it's standard to work for 640 days a year without any holidays. Furthermore, with advancements in technology, sleep and food became unnecessary. And over time became an obvious part of life. He can't even remember the last time he was able to go home on time. Now, the problem is how to resign. Given his significant role, it wasn't a job he could easily quit. They've placed restrictions to prevent high-ranking individuals from abandoning their duties. For example, if he tried using teleportation magic, he would get an electric shock to the brain, and even if he managed to escape the worksite, there were no places to hide, as the entire planet was already in the palm of the rulers. Then what if he killed his superior? That's impossible to do. Because he's bound not to harm anyone from the same planet. The scope even includes himself, so it's difficult to commit suicide. While he was contemplating how to resign, one thought came to his mind. He realizes that the rules can restrict the body with magic but not the soul. There's still no magic technique for confining souls. So that means the soul can escape freely. So he decides to do just that. From that idea, he worked more than 10 years. After countless trials and errors, he finally completed the one and only magic. Manipulation of the soul. By separating the soul, he could settle on a distant planet where no one could pursue him. It worked, and he was finally able to leave this planet without getting caught. It was the first possession and reincarnation in history. This was Chapter 0. Now begin the real story. Alien wakes up in a human body. He thinks, what's this? Something like a long protein mass is moving. Fortunately, it seems like the soul left this body not too long ago. He gets up and thinks to himself, anyway, it looks like it worked. Reincarnation is nothing if you're with me. He tries to speak and realizes that the language substitution is also natural. It doesn't seem to him there's a problem moving the body either. He wonders why it is only this much. According to his plan, he should have inherited the memories perfectly. Even the parent wouldn't notice that the soul changed. But the problem is he can't remember anything about this body. The memories are fragmented, like scattered pieces. Suddenly he feels something in his body. He felt a stabbing pain in his abdomen. He wonders if something goes wrong again. Then some of this body's memories flood to him. He learns that this body starved to death. He had set a few conditions before activating the magic. Rule number 1. Reincarnate as the creature with the highest magic power on the planet. If the condition was met, naturally the species with the highest intelligence would follow. But what he overlooked was he didn't consider the state of the body. He thought it wouldn't matter even if the body was a single-cell organism, but this is too much even for him. It feels to him like someone has poured acid into his stomach. His magic isn't working right after reincarnation. He assumes that he needs time to adapt to the magic of this planet. To stop the pain, he needs to put something in his stomach first. He gets shocked after seeing the light coming from the window. Because his old home was mostly covered in liquid, starlight rarely reached them, making it a dark and blush place. But this place he reincarnated to is completely different. He can't believe his eyes seeing this bright, warm, light and dry atmosphere, and the hard ground beneath his feet. He realizes that this isn't the time for this. He needs to find something to eat. But, no matter how much he searched, he wasn't able to find anything to eat. He wonders why he can't find anything to eat. Anger filled in as he shouted, "What the hell? What kind of planet is this?" Now he realized that how the owner of this body starved to death, his eyes are turning gray. At this rate, he's going to starve to death again. He saw an insect walking on the road. He points out that it's too small, but he decides to not be picky. He was about to eat it when he saw a boy walking past him. The body was drinking orange juice. Some of his body's memories come back and he learns that kids are called young'un. He wonders what is in the kid's mouth. He throws away the cockroach as he realizes that the kid has food that also looks pretty tasty. Now he is thinking if he should steal it or not. He starts following him. When the kid looks behind, he sees our protagonist who looks suspicious to anyone who would see him. Without any second thought, the boy started running. He doesn't know what to do and starts looking around. He notices some flowers in the pot. He knows that it's a play that doesn't seem edible, but he still decides to eat thinking it's better than stealing someone else's food. Then suddenly he hears someone scream. He assumes that it's that kid's scream and decides to check why he suddenly screamed. We see the kid who looks very terrified. There is a big bird monster standing in front of him. Kid tries to run away from there, noticing that the bird starts following him. He is trying to run away from there, but the bird is not leaving him alone. It is destroying everything in its path just to eat that boy. While running, the kid stumbles upon the protagonist again. When he sees the bird, he realizes that it's as big as a house. Just walking down the street and running into something like this, he wonders what kind of planet this is. He concludes that it's a truly wretched planet. Instead of running away, he assumes that this is actually good. This body has the memories of this bird. He can eat birds. So he decides to hunt it because he finally found a wild animal that is worthy of being prey. And as the strong grand sorcerer, he could kill that monster with just a cough. Once he adapts to the magic here, conquering this small planet will be no trouble for him. Suddenly, he senses a very strong magic power. The feeling of the magic sweeping through every cell of his body made him realize that this is Earth's magic. But there's so much, he can't handle this much. He explains if the other planets are like small buckets. Here, it's like diving into a swimming pool. He gives an alien impression on Earth. He is shocked and wonders how such a golden land can exist. This is a jackpot for him. With magic this abundant, there's nothing he can't do. Kid came running to him and asked him for help. He sighs and wonders why this kid has to ask an alien for help. What if this alien wasn't a grand sorcerer like him? He decides to help the kid, but on one condition. He has to hand over the orange juice to him. While they were talking, the bird caught up to them. Kid starts crying, saying he will give juice to him. Protagonist isn't happy seeing the kid running with his back to a predator. He asks the kid to stay back for now. As the head of the first magic division who's responsible for defending a planet, he could separate the bird's bones from its flesh with just a gesture. He tries to use magic, but nothing happens. He is confused about why his magic is not working. He assumes that he is just feeling tense because of the new environment and decides to try again. Protagonist is just chill thinking about himself while the kid is scared for his life. He tried an explosion spell, but it didn't work. Then he tried a water spell, but it also didn't work. Then tried curses, but that also didn't work. Now his expressions are looking a little hardened and he wonders why his magic isn't working. He also starts running for his life. He was about to get hit by a car because he was on the road. Car driver came out from the car and asked him if he was going crazy or wanted to die, while the bird was chasing the protagonist. He realizes that the bird will keep chasing if it sees him, so he decides to go in a different direction. Bird is destroying everything in its way and just chasing the protagonist. He starts wondering why the bird is only chasing him even though he's on the main road. He hasn't eaten anything and he's also feeling weak. Protagonist is getting very tired. He decides to change direction again. Seeing that, the bird flies high into the sky. Protagonist also sees that and realizes that at this rate he will not be able to survive. Suddenly, he feels something in his knee and wonders if this body has a disability. Because of the knee pain he fell down. But because the bird's speed was very high, it wasn't able to stop itself and crash into the building. The impact was so high that the bird died on the spot. Protagonist gets up wondering what happened. He assumes that the bird crashed into the wall by itself and asks if this bird is brain dead. As an alien from another planet, he thinks to himself that there's a bird that flies at a dangerous angle and crashes into a wall and dies. He decides to ask the Earth scholars how such a foolish creature came to be. Then he remembers that he hasn't eaten anything. He goes near the bird and wonders if this is an edible bird. While he was thinking about the bird, someone called him. When he looked behind, there was a shocked girl. The kid was the one who called the police officer and this girl here. This bird monster is a beginner killer that thieves in the sandy desert area gate, originally an E-rank monster that could be subdued by regular firearms on Earth. However, the rank of the beginner killer suddenly increased to C rank at some point, because it charges at speeds comparable to missiles. Hunters below C rank will be taken out before they see it. That's why they need to act as quickly as possible before there are casualties. By the way, this is the scene when the kid was gone calling the police. When the girl reaches the destination, she sees our protagonist and assumes that he is the one who killed the bird. This girl is a hunter and her name is Sean Woo-yun. Police officer thanks the protagonist for his hard work and tells him that they received a report that a monster had come out, and they rushed over. Fortunately, it turned out a hunter was nearby. He assumes that our protagonist is a hunter. He isn't even familiar with the term hunter. Police officer thanked him for capturing that monster. Sean is still in shock thinking about how he caught the bird that quickly. She wonders if the protagonist really just happens to run into the monster. Because the habitat of the beginner killer is a gate covered in sand that sinks your feet in. So it's a monster that's easier to catch outside than inside the gate. In the solid terrain outside, you can kill it without using your hands as long as you guide its angle well. But that's only possible if you have the visual acuity to track the movements of such a creature. She looks at it closely. She realizes that he killed it using a proper method. If that's the case, then the protagonist should probably be at least C rank. Protagonist points at the kid and asks him if he has forgotten his promise. Kid gives him the orange juice as promised. He felt refreshed after drinking it. It's been ages since he evolved into a body that doesn't need food, but there's this incredibly delightful egg. Sean can't believe that the protagonist just took the juice that the kid was drinking. Then she finally decides to introduce herself. She is from the Hunter Association and her name is Sean. She shakes hands saying that he handled the monster without a scratch. Protagonist also said that he is really the one who defeated the monster. She doesn't recognize him because she never saw him around here and asks him if he is a freelance hunter. She asks for his hunter ID because she has to report it to this association. Protagonist didn't even know what hunter ID is. So he decides to make something up for now to get out of this situation. He apologizes to her saying that he doesn't have his hunter ID with him at the moment. Hearing that, she decides to look him up in the association registry. She asks him for his name. Protagonist didn't even know the name of this body. Looking at his face, Sean realizes that he is lying. She asks him if he has registered himself as a hunter or has taken the awakening test. She points out that using abilities on the road without registering as a hunter is illegal. Protagonist doesn't even know what she is talking about. He wonders if he'll really get screwed like this. Protagonist lies to her saying that he is registered but left his hunter ID at home. He asks her to wait here while he brings his ID right away. He leaves the place thinking that he'll never come down this road again. When he reaches home, the first thing he does is find his ID card. He checks it and learns that his body's name is Kim Kiryo. This is going to be his name from now on. After searching the whole home, he wasn't able to find the hunter ID, realizing that this body never registered as a hunter. He also found some cigarettes while searching for ID. Kim doesn't know what these things are and why there are so many of them. When he looks at them closely, the memories of his body start coming back. He learns that the owner of this body used to smoke a lot of them. He gets very angry at the previous owner of this body for being a heavy smoker. As smoking is fatal for wizards, wizards combine the internal magic circulating within their bodies with the external magics in nature to cast spells. Now, a quick question by Kim: what organ is used to combine internal and external magic? And the answer is the respiratory system, especially the lungs. That's why he wasn't able to cast magic. He wonders what possessed the previous owner of this body to ruin his lungs. In Kim's old planet Alpha Uri, where the majority of the population can use magic, this would be unimaginable. He thought they were just primitive, but he never expected there'd be people this insane. He calms himself down because what's done is done, no one can do anything about that. He blames himself for being so blinded by the amount of magic that he didn't notice the flawed body. He decides to find a way to fix this body. After all, he escaped from his previous planet. He can't give up over something like this. He concludes that he will live the rest of his life on this new land. And he will definitely live happily. Then Kim goes to a police station. Here the police officer asks him why he did that despite being so knowledgeable. Kim says sorry and wonders if he underestimated life on another planet too much. He can't believe he got taken in just a few hours after arriving on Earth. After 10 minutes of investigation, Kim is feeling extremely hungry. He thinks that there's still a mountain of things to investigate about Earth. He needs to somehow solve this state of malnutrition. He suddenly gets a smell of something. That was the smell of pork soup. He was standing in front of a Sunhee's pork soup. He enters the shop and orders pork soup. He didn't know that there was food this close by. He realizes that he went through unnecessary trouble without knowing. He takes 1 spoon of pork soup and says that it's delicious. It's hot but tasty. His mouth is hurting but he can't stop. His hands are moving on their own. He thinks that he's falling for this food. It was good for him up to that point. Kim is sitting in the police station because he ate the pork soup and ran away without paying. Kim tells the police officer that he forgot to pay. Then a police officer from before who was with Cian arrives there. He notices that Kim is the hunter from before. He lets Kim go with a warning because it's his first offense and advises him to not do this again. Kim says that he will pay the restaurant and asks if he can go now. Police officer asks him to wait a moment and says that from the investigation earlier, they have learned that he isn't a registered hunter from the association. Officer assumes that Kim has awakened recently, so he advises him to visit the Hunter Association, take the test, and there is no fee. Officer also wants to Kim's rank and asks him to get tested fast. Kim is free now and wonders about the awakening thing they're going on about. He wonders if it is a concept that Earth people are supposed to know. Because everyone is insisting so much, he decides to give it a go. He reaches the Examination Association and gets a flashback from where he learns that Kim has already visited this place and his rank was F. Cian also arrives there and says hello to him. She asks him what brings him to the association. Because Kim is already here, she asks him to show his hunter ID that he was gone to get from home. After hearing that, Kim remembers how he lied to Cian about bringing the hunter if from home. Fortunately, he has recovered some of his memories now, so he can say for sure. Kim tells her that he lied to her earlier in a panic. The truth is he doesn't have a hunter's license. She was already wondering why he didn't come back. He tells her that he is registered as awakened. He just didn't apply for the card because he was disappointed with the test results. He reveals to her that his rank is F. She gets shocked and asks him how an F rank can catch the beginner killer. He answers saying that it was just luck as that stupid bird rammed its head first into a wall on its own. Hearing that, she thinks that a beginner killer failing to adapt to the external environment and accidentally killing itself is not impossible, as there are already some cases like this. But the person she saw then had an expression as relaxed as if they'd killed hundreds of C-rank beasts, without a hint of fear. She assumes that Kim is trying to hide his real rank. Most of those who hide their awakening level are dangerous people considering illegal activities. She starts assuming that Kim is also a bad person. She doesn't say anything to Kim and just says that beginner killers are indeed not that smart. In reality, Kim doesn't know about human reactions. Seeing Sean, he realizes that humans use subtle facial muscle movements to express emotions and decides to learn them to appear more friendly. He decides to give it a try. But when he tried, he made a very creepy face. Seeing Kim's expressions, Sean wonders what's wrong with him and gets more suspicious of him. For now, she decides to get out of here safely. She remembers that she has to give him something and asks for his name. Kim tells her his name. She takes out some money and gives that to Sean. Kim can't believe that there are such nice customs on the earth, like suddenly giving money as a greeting. Kim asks her why she is giving this to him. She answers saying that he left the beginner killer's corpse behind earlier. She had to dispose of it, and that's Kim's share of the money. Kim remembers the food he ate before getting caught this morning was 8,000 per serving. So, with just a fluttering piece of paper, he could get 6 bowls of soup. Kim can't believe that bird is worth so much money and asks if their feathers are expensive. She answers saying no and tells him that beginner killers have soft bodies, so they're not valuable as products. He was lucky it had a magic stone. C-rank magic stones that go for 2 million won. Hearing 2 million won, Kim asks her why his share is only 50,000. She says that his share is low because the damage costs incurred while he caught the monster, she has processed them under his name. If only Kim hadn't fled, they could have legally obtained hunter immunity. He says sorry to her. Then she leaves saying good afternoon. Kim clenches his fist and thinks that in his homeland, that bird monster is no different from a bug crawling on the street. 200,000 won just for twisting off a bird's needs is 75 bowls of soup and rice for Kim. To survive on Earth, one needs money. And he came to this Earth for a happy life. To enjoy an ideal lifestyle, he needs even more money. So, he has to become a hunter. Until lunchtime today, Kim was thinking that his future would be bleak. Because the owner of this body was dirt poor, spending money on a bowl of soup would wipe out all their savings. Now he knows being a hunter can make money. In that case, he'll hunt with magic and make a living. Although magic isn't working for him right now. He needs to find a sufficient number of monsters. A man shouts in front of him that a gate opened over there. Hearing that, he also starts seeing the gate. Gates are the hunting grounds where Earth's hunters operate. Gates are classified according to their magical density. As the rank increases, so does the danger level of the monsters inside. Kim realizes that this gate has an unusual mana pattern. He has heard that the monsters live there. This gate needs to be analyzed, but with people around, it'll be hard for Kim to enter. He wonders if there are any other gates nearby. Suddenly, he feels a mana wave that leads him to another gate. He hardly climbs the mountain and gets very tired. There are warning signs that say, police line, do not cross. But Kim ignores the warning and enter because he doesn't know what this is and says that Earthlings have a strange sense of aesthetics. He assumes that the Earthlings are using these to decorate plants and enters the gate. Sometime later, Hunter Party also arrives there and is about to enter the gate. Hunter named Yoon Sung calls his manager and tells him that he has reached the gate. Manager asks him if there are any civilians around. Sung replies that it's fine and tells him that the control line is set up well. Manage tells him that he is in great tension because this gate's rank keeps on changing. Sung asks him to not worry and also tells him that they're about to start the investigation. Saying that, Sung enters the gate with his party. Sung tells them that according to measurements, the internal magical density is at D-rank dungeon level. Glasses hunters mention that it's always like this as it's almost become a rule. Whenever something's off with the gate, it always jumps 2 levels. He asks them to wrap this up quickly and then go grab a drink. After some time, Sung asks his party to slow down a bit because they're going too fast. He points out that they've walked quite a bit and there are no signs of monsters, so he's just a little worried. Glasses Hunter points out that he's young and asks him why he's always so timid. Sung's party is going on because of any worries because Sung is an A-rank hunter. Suddenly, a big golem appears behind the Glasses Hunter. Meanwhile, Kim, who is also inside this dungeon, knows that he's already entered the depth of the cave, but he didn't find any monster on his way and wonders if he misunderstood the gate. Suddenly, he feels a mana and starts following. While doing that, he realizes that the mana is small and crude, but still overflowing with vitality. He wonders if it belongs to a human and also realizes that someone else has entered the gate. He hides behind a rock to see what is going on. He sees a big golem facing some hunters. Glasses Hunter is already dead, now only 3 hunters left. 2 of them get scared seeing how their comrade died in just a single blow. Seeing them getting panicked like this, Sung shouts asking them to come back to their senses. They have to stay sharp. If they even make a single mistake, they can die. While Sung was not looking, Golem launched a punch from behind. His teammates warn him about the attack. He immediately creates a shield and stops the attack. After that, he jumped and attacked the golem. Meanwhile, Kim is just hiding behind a rock seeing everything. On the other hand, Sung has taken down the golem. Comrades get relieved and praise Sung, saying that they were expecting impressive work from an A-rank hunter. Sung tells them that he will recover that Glasses Hunter's body and then they will slowly head back. But suddenly, the golem opened its eyes again. It grabbed Sung, slammed him on the ground and then threw him away. Second hunters tried to fight back but his sword broke like a stick. Golems punched him and killed him. Now, only the girl is left. Golem launched an attack at her, but it stopped midway. We see that Sung is still barely holding on. He stopped the attack using his shield. He asks the girl to use her binding magic. If they can't hold it down now, they will never be able to get out of here alive. Sung was holding on to the golem with his life, hoping that the girl would use her binding magic, but when he looked back, he was shocked. That girl hunter betrayed Sung and ran away on her own. Sung can't believe that she is leaving him and others behind. He wants her to come back and use binding magic. One of them is barely holding on to his life. Sung wants her to save him, but now there's no use. She has already run away. Then, Golem slams down Sung on the ground. Before getting unconscious, he thought to himself that what he felt after getting betrayed is not anger, but emptiness. He obtained an A-rank awakening due to the dungeon break phenomenon. Offers from all sorts of massive guilds poured in, he met good connections, formed a team, and they increased their gate conquest achievements. Everything was going so smoothly for them. He never expected for things to end like this, in such a miserable way. Golem was about to step on Sung, but then, Kim enters the scene saying he can't stand it anymore. He wonders if this is the nature of the Earthlings. But with the time he got while they were fighting with Golem, he was able to complete his analysis. He gets surprised seeing the Golem from close up, but it doesn't matter to him because this Golem is too outdated for him. Golem, a clay figure that moves using man as its power source. Golems served various roles in Alpha-Yuri, Kim's original planets. From everyday tasks like labor, errands, and construction work to war machines. Alpha-Yuri was truly a nation built on the labor of golems. Even Kim majored in golem weaponry. The reason there are no monsters here is because this guy is on guard duty. Kim assumes that this gate is a private property. Since Kim has woken up the guard, there's no way he's getting out easily, so he has to deal with it. Even though Kim can't use magic here, he has his own ways of doing things. First, Kim didn't attack and just dodged Golem's attacks. He was confident before, but now he has realized that it's not that easy to defeat it. He can avoid Golem's attack due to its large size and clumsiness. But this body of Kim is too weak. He was just dodging the attacks to find the best opportunity to strike back. Then, he found an opportunity that he was waiting for. He explains that stopping the golem is simple, the large gem embedded in the golem's arm. This gem is not an ordinary decorative jewel. Rather, it's a magical energy detection sensor. All Kim needs to do is input the emergency stop command into this sensor. For security reasons, only the owner and creator of the golem know the emergency stop command, but a model as crude as this one can be figured out with just a glacé, for Kim that is. He inputs the command and the golem just falls down. Since Kim has only activated the emergency stop command, it did not completely shut down. To switch it to offline mode, he needs to remove the core located in the center of its back. He's not good at doing this bare-handed, but at this point he has no other choice. He easily removes the core and shuts down the golem completely. It's simple for Kim. Then we see Sung, who is on the ground. He moves his fingers a bit, thinking what his mom said to him. He remembers that she used to always remind him about the dangers that come with the hunter job. That's why she doesn't want him to become a hunter. But Sung was confident in himself because he was an A rank. His mom was very worried, because in the dungeon anything can happen. But Sung reassures her mom, saying that he is a hunter who has been recognized by many others. He promises her that he will become a successful hunter and asks her to have trust in him. Before he left, his mom wished him luck and advised him to be careful with a smile on her face. In the present, Sung tries hard and gets up. First thing he saw was a man holding the golem's core. He was very shocked and wondered if he did it alone and bare-handed and if he is a hunter. For Sung, the more important thing is to know how Kim got in here. He is sure there was a security line set up. Then Kim decides to go to Sung. Sung gets shocked, seeing a stranger hunter who crossed the security line and illegally entered the dungeon, giving him a hand of help. Subscribe for more.